I made this two-stroke death machine a few years back. I gave it to my brother. He's had a few goes of it, but it's never really been quite right. So I'm gonna redo it a little bit, see if I can make it a bit better. Got some spark. Okay, now I've doubled the voltage for 24 volts. Let's see if it'll jump now. Oh! So it's starting to fire up. That starter motor gets hot running 24 volts through it, but it kicks it to life pretty well. Just straightening the fuel out now. I'm going to take the carburetor apart and give it another clean out. Very clean, but there's a little bit of that coagulated fuel down there. Can't quite say that word. Probably blocking the main jet. Just clean that out and have a go. This thing goes great. Actually trying to grow the grass back here and I'm not doing too well. So this is a standard wheel, and then this is one that I've stretched. So I'll put 100mm into the rim. So I get a smaller contact patch, make it nicer to drift sideways, and it won't try and debead as easy. So let's do that to this one. I'll show you how you do it. So obviously you need to take the tyre off. Once you've done that, you need to pick a spot where you're going to cut it. I'll probably cut it in here. What you can do to mark it is just grab like a piece of wood or something that's the right measurement and, you know, scribe around the whole thing with a screwdriver or a knife, whatever you got, but I've got something better than that to use. I can use this, but if you don't have one of these things, you can just use a piece of wood or a block of steel, whatever you've got that's the right height. So now all I'm going to do is cut along this line. I'll stick to this left hand side and just be careful to get it quite accurate. Once that's been cut in half, just clean the paint off or the rust or whatever you got going on off both sides. I've got this piece of stainless here. I think it's 1.6mm thick. You can use anything, but the thinner the better really. This is just an offcut that I've shaped into a 100mm wide strip, and you just mark the rim and roll it along until you get back to your mark again to see where to cut it. Last time I just bent this around with my hands, but this time I'm going to tack it to this pipe. And then you just simply bend it round. Then you just start tacking it to the rim, and you just bend it around with your hands and tack wherever it's flush. Do that all the way around to both pieces. Sorry, I would show it, but I didn't bring my tripod, so you know, it's pretty easy really. You can bend this with your hands, with two hands. When you get to the end, you might have a bit of an overlap, so I'm just going to cut about 5mm off the end of that piece of plate there. And I'm using a clamp to pull on the last piece. Got it all tacked together now. I cut a piece off, but I cut a little bit too much, so I'm going to have to fill that gap up. But just using the MIG welder here, I'm going to go through and weld it up. Just the outside, it's not going to be very nice, but let's do it. It's got to be turned down, right down low. Probably turn my power down to about 15. Got a little bit less wire. Got that welded. It's pretty ugly, but I just wanted to use the MIG on here because of the it's an old wheel, it's a bit rusty and that. If I was going to do this on a new wheel, a new rim, I would probably use the TIG welder. So now I'm just going to grind those welds back because the tube will get pinched on those. I'm back in my little shed at home now. I've just got to soap everything up. I don't want the tube to pinch since it's getting stretched so far. Soap all over the place. Hopefully this makes it work. Gotcha. Oh, well, that works pretty easily. Yeah, that looks way cooler. So widening these tyres is a cool little project that anybody could do at home really, with a welder and a grinder and a bit of patience. You don't have to be super precise, you don't need a lathe to make everything perfect. So yeah, have a go. Next is the seat. I took off the old seat because it was horrible. And my friend Adam gave me this seat. It's a go-kart seat, but it's a kid's one. Even though I'm pretty skinny, I can't quite fit in it. So I'm going to put it on here and try and stretch it apart a little bit with the frame. Snap the drill. There we go, that spread the seat apart a bit. Let's see if I fit. That's good, very good. Perfect. One other problem is the handlebars on this are too low. When you turn, you've got to kind of do that, tuck your leg in. It's a bit scary, it's like your leg's trapped. So I want some higher handlebars. I've got these ones here. So let's make these fit. Bit of an update, handlebars are welded on, they're good. Looks a bit Dorcas, but I might put a bit of a front plate or something on there to hide it. Mounted these batteries in here, so I can bridge that and then run those to the power, so I'm running 24 volts. Moved the fuel tank to over here, made another bracket for it. I put a front brake caliper off a GSX 600 on here, and a caliper. I did the cable pulls that. What it did have was this brake off the lawnmower, which is just a pad that rubs on this clutch here for the motor. This is the centrifugal clutch. And that pad just rubbed on there, but it's worn down to the steel. It's not, you know, that's supposed to stop a ride-on mower, not something that's 3 times as fast. And the 3D printer is making me a cover for here because I'm going to take that off. Now I'm going to bleed these brakes. My least favourite job. I've got the side cover off and I'm doing some bright colours on this build, something I haven't really done before. And I'm doing a sort of a 2-tone rim. Okay, I went for a bit more of a colourful paint job on this thing. I think it looks pretty cool. But I've still got to hook up all of the throttle cable and the wiring and fuel line and stuff like that, so let's get that sorted out. I've got this weird old throttle assembly and had to 3D print this thing to fit in here. Just fits perfect. Okay, so this is a super fiddly part. I've got a nail that I've drilled a hole through, and that's going to go onto the end of this throttle cable. And I'm just going to weld the end of it. Hope I don't melt this. And there we go, tiny little weld on the end of there. I need to put this brass barb inside my fuel cap just so I can put a hose on it so it doesn't spill fuel out. Put a socket in the lathe, screw that in, drill a hole in the center. perfect. So I've got it wired up now. Earth of this battery straight to the chassis, then the red wire is going straight to the starter motor, and then to start it all I do is jump the battery with this, and the kill switch is just wired up to the coil. It just shorts the coil. I could just run a 12 volt like a relay solenoid thing, but I always fry these things, and especially at 24 volts, going to fry it real quick. This little thing looks good. Whoops.
You crashed it.
The front wheel slipped easily. And the brakes are terrible. Absolutely terrible brakes. Okay, Mia.
We good?
Yeah, it's the motor's bogging out now. I think the carburetor's blocking up still. I put a fuel filter on, but maybe what was left in the line is still blocking the carburetor. But yeah, it's working pretty good. The brakes don't even work at all. What I'm going to have to do is buy a proper brake caliper for up here and run a line, because this setup with the cable pulling the caliper is just too spongy. Alright, Mia, turn it off. A few little things to fix, and then next time we'll be doing some sweet drifts. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.